Okay, I will repeat once again. Maximum 2 lines. Okay, Times New Roman, 14-point bold. This is mandatory for all the title. 14-point bold size. If you find that it spills over to the third line, you have to rearrange the words and make sure that it fits within 2 lines. Within 2 lines, you should be in a position to tell the exact focus of your research work in the title. Okay. Avoid abbreviations. Most of the time we are tempted to write VLSI, ECG, EEG, right? Common words, most of the time it is okay, but if you are having any specific content in your paper and if you are having some abbreviation for that, do not include that abbreviations in your title. If you are doing case 1, what is case 1? Taking some other person's work and applying for your methodology, right? Avoid words like novel or new. We try to hide our failure by using the words like novel or new. A novel technique. What is novel? When we go inside the methodology part, there will be nothing novel, right? Even though you have some novelty, right? An editor will not like another person showing some novelty. Do you believe this? That is the world we are living in, right? Specifically in Indian scenario, an Indian will not like another Indian doing some novel work. So, even though you have in your article, it's okay, but do not use any words like novel or new. Citing some other reasons, they will reject your paper. In case 1 research, okay, you will have 2 parts in your title. Can you just write your title in your notepad or something like that and check whether you have 2 parts. One is methodology, one is application. Medical image analysis using soft computing techniques. I will take this title. You can think about your own title. Do we have 2 parts? Do we have one methodology or engineering tool? And do we have one application on which you are going to apply your engineering tool? Yes? Yes or no? Right? You will always have 2 parts, but you must know which part to be placed first and which part should be placed second. Most of the time we make mistake here. Medical image analysis using soft computing techniques. If I have a title like this, then the expectation from the editor side on my article is most of the contents should be on medical image analysis. If there is a mismatch, even though your article is good, still it will be rejected. Right? So how can you rephrase this title? Soft computing techniques based medical image analysis. Very, very important. Medical imaging or methods. Which is your focus? Based on your focus, you rearrange your title, which is very, very important. The same thing is applicable for your journal selection also. You have a journal in Elsevier, computerized medical imaging and graphics. Okay? Whenever you say computerized medical imaging, definitely some AI tool or computer should be there on medical image analysis, right? But they will be focusing more on medical images. Right? Yes, ma'am.
So, suppose we are going for the survey paper.
Okay.
So, the same thing we can apply for the
survey paper is different. This is for a research paper. When you say survey paper, the only condition you have in your title is make sure that it is as narrow as possible. Medical image analysis using soft computing techniques. If you write a review paper on this title, trust me, even if you stand upside down, your article will never get accepted. Because already there would have been plenty of survey papers on this topic. In that case, narrow down. What type of medical image are you looking at? Brain image analysis using deep learning, a bit narrowed title. But again, do a homework in Google whether already review paper is available or not. If it is still available, you have to still narrow down. Stroke detection in brain images using quantum machine learning. Understood? So when you have narrowed titles, the chances of your paper getting accepted is high. But you need to have at least 130 references for a review paper. 130 minimum. Okay, if that is the case, no problem. Whether you place part 1 first or part 2 second, that is not going to be an issue because your review paper is going to cover both. There is no specific emphasis. But when you come to a research article, you would have developed a new methodology on CNN. Say for example, if that is the case, if you try to publish in a medical imaging systems journal, then the chances of your acceptance will significantly come down. Journal selection is very, very crucial for the acceptance of your. Did I answer you, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in continuation to that
Yes,
question
yes.
only,
Yeah.
if we are, is it mandatory to write in title of a review paper the research word or the survey word, something like that?
You can give. Nowadays there is a concept called as systematic review, Okay.
Right.
a comprehensive review, an exhaustive review. All these words you should give, right? Sometimes what happens is they would have actually given only a review, okay, but the title will not bear any word on review or survey, and it will be misleading. The editor will get confused whether this is a research paper or a review paper, because first one he or she is going to look at is your title. It should clearly give the phrase comprehensive, exhaustive or systematic review.
So is there any difference between comparative and survey and something if we are
Survey and review, there is no much difference, but when you say a comparative analysis, when you use the word analysis, that will not come under review. That will come
But
under
if in the paper
research.
we are embedding the technology is being listed and the comparative table of
You can include the comparative table, but you did not do any experimental work on that, am I right?
Right.
Then it is called as a review or a survey.
survey or
You can include as many numerical values, as many tables as you like, nothing wrong. See, at the end of the session, you just remind me, I have some sample review papers of my PhD students. A successful pattern. If you observe, the pattern will be same. Submitted to different journals and all were accepted. I can give you. Right? So the idea is you need to make sure that the word review should be given clearly.
So it should be mandatory if you are writing a review paper. If you are going for a publication for review paper, we should write at least survey or review.
Review.
So that reviewer will be.
Yes, exactly. And most of the journals, when you submit, they have two options: research,
And
review. Okay. You choose review and submit. Okay. Apart from 130 references, you need to include a prisma diagram.
Right.
Right? How many papers you referred, what are the inclusive, exclusive conditions, all those things. Not in the abstract, it is in the introductions. No, don't use that in the abstract. Abstract should be maximum 250 words only. But afterwards, in the introduction section, you can.
We can write it in the methodology part also.
Yes, you can do. Any other queries?
References, if you are mentioning for 130, it could be between 100 to 130 or exactly 130? It should
No, minimum 130.
be
Minimum 130. And a review paper should have 30 pages. Single column, okay, not double column. Don't change your journal article to the journal's format. That is not expected. Single column, single line spacing, font size 11, Times New Roman, 30 pages. Right? If you have only 15 pages, that's a serious shortfall. You do not have sufficient quantum of contents in your review article. When you have 30 pages, when they convert to their format, it will come to 12 or 15 pages, which is okay for it. Right? Don't write a review paper for 60 pages or 70 pages. That is also
line spacing 1.
line spacing 1, Times New Roman 11.6.
So is it mandatory to add a proposed methodology?
Not necessary, not necessary, but what you can give is what my pattern is, I give an exhaustive block diagram. Okay, the complete flow, say for example stroke detection using quantum machine learning. The complete flow I will give as a diagram. Then my entire paper will have side headings which are individual blocks in that block. Right? So when I say image data set, that will be my first heading, and I will form an exhaustive table indicating all the images, their web links, how many types of images, their spec, everything I will give exhaustive.
That means a comparative analysis of all the techniques together.
And that's not a comparative analysis, it's just a summary of all the available data sets.
Yes.
Understood? That is image data set. Next, say for example, I go for pre-processing. When I go for pre-processing, I will give some qualitative results taken from another person's work, and also I will give some numerical tables indicating the numbers in terms of performance measures from another person's work. That is comparative analysis, but you are not doing any analysis. You are still in the knowledge or in the understand level only, because you are just copying from the another person's work. You are not entering into apply, analyze, evaluate or create. Understood? So now you must be very careful on which you are giving focus and to which journal you are going to submit. And no grammatical mistake in the article title. Do not use any words like ing words, right? Developing, enhancing. Do not use such words. Instead, you use words like development, enhancement. In third person's form, you need to write a title, right? If you write a title like this, the chances of your paper getting through the first stage, and what to say, a non-teaching staff. Non-teaching staff means someone like technical staff will be there, recruited by all the journals, right? He or to the editor or reviewer to have any doubts. That is the first point you need to make sure within the abstract. Now we will see how to write these 8 lines. The first line should always start with your application. Right? Few minutes back I told don't give any importance to the application. But in the abstract, your first line should always talk about application. Why? Because finally this research output is going to provide some solutions for the human problems. Only then the reality is the journals, the publisher's journal will be much appreciated in the society. Only then your librarian will subscribe for the journal. Only then they will make millions of money. Understood? Right? Always make sure that your first line starts with the application, giving an emphasis on the methodology which you are using on your specific application. Second, straight away we are going into the, what is step number 2? Problem statement. If your problem statement is as complex as another statement, then the chances of your abstract getting selected will be high. But if it is too simple, do you remember the license plate example? Right? When the first statement is too simple, then you will not be able to write anything on line number 2. What you will write? You do not have any problem statement with you. Then you will not be able to write what exactly in line number 2. You will generally write improving the accuracy of the application, right? Improving the time convergence of the application, which is not acceptable for a Q1, Q2 journal. Now can you connect this part with the first module? 50% of your experimental work. Only if you have some problem statement, you should have made some changes in the methodology. That problem statement should come and sit in line number 2. Okay. Line number 3. Show the incapability of the previous researchers in solving this problem. right? You need to clearly tell them, because they will ask, what is the need for me to publish your research article? So the third line should say that these people, literature survey reveals that there are plenty of papers, but still they are unable to find a solution for the problem. Right? From fourth line onwards, your content should start with a phrase, in this work, in this article, in this research. So when you say like this, you are dividing the abstract into two parts. Am I right? From in this work onwards, what you are going to say in your article. Previous 3 lines or 4 lines are belonging to the existing part. So first 3 lines I will find out the problems, and from the 4th line I will find out that this person has made some changes in the methodologies or the technologies. That you have to highlight in your 4th and also the 5th line. 2 lines for the changes you made in the methodology. What will you write if you do not have any changes in the methodology? You will write some stories, like how our students write the exams. Am I right? Is it clear? Right? When you have some specific changes, you can clearly illustrate that in next 2 lines. Then what happens? You have to give the expected results of your research article also. Have you already done the experiments? Yes or no? The answer is yes, because this is step number 9. Now we are trying to convert your experiments into some outputs. So all those experimental results are numbers which you have got. You should give in a single line about your results. And also you have to give your performance measures. When you have all these 8 lines or 8 to 10 lines, then definitely your abstract will pass through. Line number 2 and line number 4. When you submit a paper to me, my eyes will directly go on line number 2. If I do not see a complex problem statement, what will I do? I will reject. Is it clear? Now how many lines you will have? 8 to 10 lines. Easily you can create a good abstract without any mess. Next you will have the keywords. Are keywords important for the acceptance or rejection of your article? Yes? The answer is no. Right? Keywords are not important for acceptance or rejection of the article, but they are crucial for post-acceptance of your article. Nowadays we talk about citations, right? What are citations? Another person using your paper as a reference paper. How will they use, how do you use another person's work in your reference section? How will you find your reference articles? You go to Google and type image processing. Okay? When you type image processing, you will get thousands of results. Okay? Which one will you take? Will you take the first one, or you will go to the 1000th page and take the 1000th article? First one. Okay? So make sure that you use the keywords in such a way that that word should be repeated multiple times in your article. Right? In your title, you should have a specific information, but when you go for your keywords should be much more general in nature. Only then the chances of your paper getting cited by another researcher will increase. Understood? Don't give any narrow word as keywords in your article, because these are used as searching elements in your abstract. You know about H-index and all those things, right? Everything revolves around this specific keywords. But because of keywords, is there any problem for me? 99% no. Okay? 1% there is a problem. What is that problem? When you give a specific keyword, there will not be any reviewers in my journal matching with that expertise. Okay? Now, based on your keywords, my software will search for the reviewer. When it does not find any reviewer, it will return me a red flag stating that no reviewers found. Now, whose problem is this? Author's problem or the journal's problem? Not available of reviewers in my journal is whether an author problem or a journal's problem. It's the problem of the journal, but still I will put the blame on you, citing some other reason. I will reject your article, but I will not tell openly outside. Some journals do say that, but most of the journals will not say openly outside that I am unable to find a reviewer for your article. Right? To avoid that problem, give general keywords in your article, which is much more appreciable in terms of reviewer search. Any queries? One or two queries you have? Okay. Now we will move on to the next part. What is the next part? Introduction part. How many lines we had in the abstract? 8 to 10 lines. You need to have 8 to 10 paragraphs in your introduction section. As simple as that. You need to have 8 to 10 paragraphs. We will stick on to the 8 lines theory. So you need to have 8 paragraphs in your introduction section. Right? All the single line which you wrote in your abstract should be expanded into a paragraph. Now, how many lines in a paragraph? Any English expert here? Cambridge professors here in English? No? How many lines in a paragraph? 10 to 12 lines. Okay? Don't have 3 or 4 lines paragraph in your article. At the same time, do not have 20 or 30 line paragraph also in your article. 10 to 12 lines paragraph is an ideal one. That is very, very important. Right? Now we will see what you need to have in your introduction. The first line, what is the first line in your abstract? It talks about the application. Now the first two paragraphs also should talk about the application. You can give some statistics, you can give some background scenario, how important your research article to be published in their journal. That should be your focus. How this guy will select my paper, what should I write in such a way I will attract this editor. So based on the journal's ideology, you need to write an introduction which focuses on your application. In the second paragraph, what is the second line over there? The problems. In the second paragraph, you can write about the problems associated with this application. You can mix one or two, but ideally one will be on the application alone, second will be on the problems of the specific application. If you want, you can give some statistics or global scenario to showcase the emphasis of your research work. From the third paragraph onwards, we are going to do the literature review. Now, what is review? One person was asking if there is a difference between review and a survey. I told the answer is both are same, almost same. Now, I will ask another question. Is there a difference between review and a summary? Review and a summary. SUMMARY. Right? Yes or no? Yes. You know that both are not same, but still you will write only a summary rather than doing a review in your article. What is summary? Jude Hemanth came to D.Y. Patil and he gave a lecture on research paper writing, 35 medical image classification. Okay, first line is positive. That's okay. Summary. The next line should start with words like however, in spite of, even though. What are these words? These words are something like you are going to give a negative on that specific work. For finding the negatives of that work, what you should do? You should become a technical expert. What do you mean by that? Spending more time on the paper, read that, find the drawback, come and write. So if you follow this procedure, tell me how many papers would you have covered in one paragraph? In a single paragraph, how many papers you would have covered? 5. Okay? 5 papers per paragraph. How many paragraphs? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5 into 5?
25.
25 papers you would have covered in your introduction. 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines. Then next paragraph, 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines. Likewise, you need to cover. Talk about the negatives of the person's work rather than giving the summary. Each of these references must be numbered in ascending order. Don't confuse. Number 1, when you give something in a square bracket, 1, 2, 3, 4 should be arranged sequentially. The same way when you go for your reference section also. You know this. If more than one author is there, you should use et al. Okay? Try to use recent references. This is another significant acceptance criteria. What do you mean by recent references? You are in 2026. Then what do you mean by recent? How will you quantify?
26
5
papers.
years. 5 years, right? Including 2026, 5 years. That means 25, 24, 23, 22. These 5 years papers should be there within this 25. Sir, that is one important paper in 1978. Can I include that? You can include. Okay, but one paper you can include. But do not include all 1990s, 2000s, 2010s paper. That is not acceptable. Never use irrelevant references in your work. Nowadays people are creating reference section using Claude and another AI tool. Have you used that? Yes, right? It is a very serious issue. What happens is, this Claude is trying to give irrelevant, when I say irrelevant, your paper, right, author name will be taken from my name. So my author name will be placed as author for your paper. It will search all the web sources, okay, and then it will take one paper, it will remove the actual authors of the paper and it will place another author's name. Right? There are journals who are checking this, and this is one of the most important reasons for retractions. They say that because you want to improve your citations, actually we are not doing that. We are making our work easy, but because they think that you are a big shot and you are trying to improve your citations, you are given all false data. That is one of the important reasons for retractions. Do not use that. Make sure you type all the references with your hand by checking the paper authenticity in Google or any other. Try to use references from standard publications, right? IEEE Springer or Elsevier. Why do we say these are standard publications? Do they have 2 horns in their head? No. Then why? Their review process is tough. Nowadays there are plenty of conferences going on, right? Do you think whether they review the papers of those conferences? Money making business, right? You submit some paper, immediately your paper will be accepted. There are some scope of journals. You pay 30,000, next day you want at 11 p.m. then they will give the result on 11 p.m. also, right? Those review process, when it is not tough, we have an understanding that the contents are not verified properly. So the chances of those contents being on the wrong side is extremely high. That's why we do not encourage a non-standard publications. Right? You can use 1 or 2, nothing wrong, but when somebody looks at your reference section, most of them should be from 2022 with these publishers. Then you are giving a better impression too. Writing literature survey is just criticizing, right? That doesn't mean always you have to criticize. You can write some positive words, sentences here and there. Okay? 2 lines per paper. And how many references you should have in a journal? 35. Okay, now it is 35. 25 papers will be covered from paragraph number 3 to 7. First 2 paragraphs, you can have some references. Right? Can you use references after your introduction section? Can you use references after your introduction section when you go to your methodology section? Yes or no? No. Any yes? I think you understood my mind. Yes or no? No. Any yes? Okay, now why no? Exactly. What is this references? Why you are citing or giving a square bracket? Somebody has already done this work. Okay? Then you should stop with the past history. Now when you come into your regular content, still if you are using so many references, finally I will think that this person did not do anything. Everything has been taken from the references. That is not correct. We may think that it is harmless, but it will give this wrong signal to the editors. Organizing your paragraphs is very, very important. What do you mean by organizing? You will keep everything neatly, all the books on one side, pens on one side, right? Cups on one side, something like that. Same way organizing in your paragraphs is also very, very important. What do you mean by organizing? You need to have homogeneous contents within the same paragraph and heterogeneous contents between 2 paragraphs. Right? If you talk about neural networks, in a paragraph, all the 5 papers should belong to only neural networks. Order in an ascending way. That means the oldest one first and the recent one next. After neural networks, we had deep learning. So the 4th paragraph can be deep learning. In deep learning, you can have CNN 5 papers. After that, we had transfer learning. Then you can have another 5 papers. Then we had quantum machine learning. You can have another. Likewise, when you have a flow, when somebody reads your article, right, they will get a good impression on the flow, or they will have at least an opinion that you have really carried out literature survey properly. Actually, you would not have done, right? That is next story. But at least you will create an impression in the minds of the editor and the editor. 25 papers. Neat organized panni. If you are giving the drawbacks clearly, easily you can have a pass in the introduction section. Group all the techniques of one category together, all the different categories in different paragraphs. Make sure a good flow is ensured between these paragraphs. Okay. Now 3 to 7 we have. What is the last paragraph? What is the 4th line in your abstract? How did we start that? In this paper or in this work. In the same way, your last paragraph also should start with in this work. That means in all the previous 5 paragraphs, I was, right? Irrespective of your position in your institution, you may have NBA activities, you may have MAC activities, you may have NRF activities, everyone has that. Okay? In spite of all that, you should be in a position to sit with your PhD student, share 50% at least of their workload. Only then, when you grow old, right, you will have all the experience with you to share to your students. Now, many of you are young PhD students, right? Make sure that you learn the art now. Don't go for any shortcuts or any unethical ways to go for research publishing to make sure that you fulfill the criteria. That will take time, but you need to have patience and a motivation to say that that is my contribution. Right? Unless otherwise you write with your own hands, it is going to be extremely difficult. Okay, in Indian scenario, it is a practice. Supervisor does not know anything about what the student is doing. I am not saying any, I am not talking about any specific region or institution. That is the scenario. Finally, the student will come and say that a paper is indexed in Web of Science. Oh, a paper is indexed in Web of Science. Finish. It's going to be very, very difficult. Right? When you solve these three things, automatically whatever I am going to give to you will be much more simple. Are you with me? Yes? Okay. So we will look at the art of publishing in side journals right from the initial stage to the end process. I am not sure whether the time will be enough for me, because this contents I used to give for 2 days training in other institutions, where in the last session the participants will come with their abstract introduction. We will have one-to-one refining of their articles. Most of the time on the third day they have a rough draft of the article ready. That was the focus with which this was prepared, but nevertheless, due to the short of time, we will make sure that to get as much contents as possible. Right? Whenever I give some information, if you have any queries or questions, okay, please raise your hands immediately. I am not interested in one-way monologue. We should have a dialogue. Whatever doubts you have in your mind, that should be always cleared before you go out of this room. Is it okay? Right? We will also have a separate question and answer session at the end. She asked me to complete by 1 o'clock. So last 15 minutes or something, we will have a question and answer session. But you need not wait for it. Okay? You have a pointer or a presenter or something? So these are some of my credentials. Okay? I was like you, right? Maybe 15 years back or 16 years back. I used to attend FDPs, but I make sure that I develop contacts, connections, which will be always useful for me. I have plenty of mentors now. They are 60 and above people. They always guide me. Whenever I have a confusion and I go to them, should I go in this way or not? Right? Some are from North India and some are from outside India. But you need to make sure that you always have a one PowerPoint slide. This was the information given to me by my mentors. Are you a researcher? Yes. Then you should have one PowerPoint slide always with you. Why? That is not to tell the third person about your credentials, but a self-evaluatory tool for you. Okay? Whether can I change any bullet points in my PPT? Is there any new additional inputs in my PPT slide? Yes. If yes, indicates that I am growing. Are the numbers changing? Yes. Then I am growing. When there is no change in the number, or when there is no change in the bullet points in the PPT slide, it indicates that I am sitting idle for the previous 2 months or 3 months or whatever it be. Right? So today you go to your home, right? Make a one PowerPoint slide. Think and keep on growing if you really want to make a difference in your research career. Okay? So these are some of the credentials. You have the publications. Now you talk about cumulative impact factor. You have citations, you have H-index, you have projects, you have awards and all those things. All those things will come only when you have the strong publications at the back end of your site. Right? Without strong publications, it's very, very difficult. So how to make your publication strong? That's why I am standing in front of you. Don't look at only your institution, right? Don't look at only Pune. Don't look at only Maharashtra. Don't look at only India. Always your thought process should be on the international scenario, right? Don't think you should always travel and go and get connections with them. It is not. When you have a strong CV with you, you can sit at your place itself, make sure that you send emails, information to them. Go to Google, search, I can tell you how you have to search. You will get different searching ways by which you can automatically get connection with the professors. Then automatically you will grow. Right? You know about APCs, right? Nowadays article processing charges. How much? Are they 10 rupees, 20 rupees? Right? It will cost you one house also sometime. Right? Nature Communications, the APC is 15 lakhs to 20 lakhs. Okay? We cannot afford, but those people can afford. Those are the hidden benefits with which you can get. Right? Maybe if you want to have something like this, you can let me know at a later stage. These are my editorial positions, right? If you are working in this specific areas, if you need any support, she is having my contact and all the details. You can get that information and let me know if you need any support. But your paper should be refined in such a way that it will be observed by these people. Okay? These are mostly Web of Science journals. You will have also Scopus journals along with it. These are some of my books, right? Edited books along with the research paper publications. Edited books is also a good way in which you can show your expertise, right? Can I publish a book? If you ask, the answer is yes. For beginners, CRC Press is one of the very good option. That publisher is a very good option where you can send a mail to them. Maybe if you want, I can tell you the process, which is relatively simple in comparison to the other publishers. Right? All those books also will be indexed in Scopus. These are some of my books which are available in Google, but it's not for free. You have to pay and then you have to buy. Very important, the most important slide in my presentation, right? Some mistakes I did, right? Then I learned a lesson. So most of the time I am going to tell you that do not do this. If you do this, the probability of acceptance of your article will significantly come down, right? Sometimes I have learned many positives also. So that is a way in which you have to put the positives and the negatives together and make sure that you write a good research article. So I will classify you people into two groups, right? What is group 1? New beginners, right? Anyone just registered your PhD, 2 months old or 3 months old, something like that? Okay, very few, right? I will put you 4 of you in group 1, right? You have just now started. You are clueless on how you need to go towards your experiments. You are learning, right? But all the other people, 25 or 30 people, you have already done some experiments, okay? Then you have it ready to convert that experiment into a document. Okay? Now this presentation is ideally for group 2. I am not going to talk about the experimental part, but I am going to talk about how to convert your experiments into some good publication output. Is it very clear? Right? Some institutions or sometimes your institution also will come and tell you next month you need to give me 10 papers. Okay? In my institution that's a regular practice. Immediately higher officials will come. Today they are coming. Okay, then we will sit in a meeting and then say, Jude, your department has 30 faculties, they will put some mathematical calculation, 30 into 10 each, 300. Okay, 300 is a good number. Next month you will give me 300 papers and then they will leave. Right? Research is not something in terms of numbers, right? The experiments will take time, right? Your article writing will take time. Don't think that immediately on a single day you can write a good research paper. That is extremely difficult. Your mindset should be in such a way that I am going to take, if you are a beginner, 2 months, 3 months to write a good article. If you have that mindset, you will not fall prey for any pressure. You can happily write a paper. Otherwise, it is going to be very, very difficult. So this is our agenda, okay? For 5 to 10 minutes, I will talk about how to initiate the research or how you should do your experiments, right? For 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I will give some information about that. Then our major agenda will be on the purple color stuff, okay? How to write the papers. So section wise, each section, each part of the paper, I will tell you what you need to write in each line and each paragraph. If you have a strong technical expertise, definitely you will be able to convert that into a good paper. Right? These are optional one, module 3, module 4, module 5, module 6. If time permits, we will go into that. Okay? Then module 7 is something very general. So module 1, how to initiate research. What is research all about? Okay? When you are doing your PhD or when you are giving some work to your PhD students, you should always have these 3 questions in your mind. Why, what and how. Right? Why should I do some research on this specific area of technology or whatever it may be, right? The second thing you need to have in your mind is what should be the process, and the third is how should I make sure that I get a better result in comparison to another person. If you write in a piece of a paper and try to find an answer, if you are not able to find an answer, then it indicates that your selection of area and problem statement is not very apt for Q1, Q2 publications. Why do you search? You need to find some solutions for some problems, right? Now the question is, are you the only one finding solution for that problem? Is that true? But we think always when we write a paper, I am the only one who is writing a paper. Nobody in the world talks about that, right? But there will be millions of people in front of you doing some work on this, right? Then why should you do? How should you show a difference in comparison to your fellow people? You need to find a better solution. That should be always in your mind. Okay? In Pune, Mumbai expressway, we always hear news of accidents during the winter time. Okay? During the foggy conditions, we find that there's plenty of accidents due to the lack of visibility. This is one problem. Plenty of people have already done some works on that. Now the question is, how can I find a better solution for the same problem? How can you find a better solution? What do you search? You need to develop some new techniques. Now people say they give the same idli and sambar and they expect me to say that this is a new dish. And my wife will be waiting whether I am saying it's a new dish or not. Right? By looking at your face, I will say this is a new dish. Right? We write research papers in the same pattern, which is not exactly correct. Nobody expects you to take some methodology which is already available and use it for your application. No. A big no. That is the place where we make mistakes. Right? You need to find out some new techniques or technologies. When I say new techniques, does it mean something from the heaven? No. We are not Einsteins, we are not Thomas Alva Edison to spend their complete life on one research work. No, we are not like that, right? But even if there is an incremental change in your experiments, in your architecture or in your equations or whatever it may be, then it will be acceptable by the research community. So you need to find out new techniques, right? Most of the time, again, we always give importance to the problems, right? That is true, that is okay, but you cannot change anything on the problem. Most of you are computer engineers related with, right? So when you are a computer engineer, you need to make use of that technology to make sure that you find a solution. But our attention is always on medical applications, agricultural applications, because that is easy. We take some methodology which is already existing and put it in your application and say we have got a paper. That thing is not going to work. Right? So you need to spend some time finding the drawback, and then you need to find some new techniques which will be giving a solution. How do you search? You can do it in two ways. As I told you, case 2 is the most preferable thing for a research paper in 2026. But if you say that, sir, I am already crossing 50, I cannot write a new research paper, it's very difficult for me to find some new methodologies, right? You can also follow case 1, but you need to do a thorough literature survey to check whether that methodology is used on your application for the first time. Understood? Okay. Case 1 is applicable only for Scopus journals. But if you are asking for Web of Science journals or site journals, you should have something in terms of case 2. Otherwise, it is going to be extremely difficult for you to publish in Web of Science journals. Case 1 is relatively easy. Since somebody has already built the house, you just get a flat, right? Pay money, purchase a flat, everything is ready, you stay nicely, right? But the real thing necessary is you need to purchase a land, approach, go to your panchayat office, get all the documents cleared. Which one is easy? Purchasing a flat or purchasing an empty plot and building a house? Purchasing a flat. That is like a Scopus journal. Okay? The other thing is like a Web of Science journal. All the process you need to do. But once you build a house, trust me, in another 1 month you will build 10 houses. And there is no looking back for your flat-based system. Case 2 is highly challenging, I accept. That's why I told you the point number 2, right? Technical expertise. Don't forget that story. Right? After 10 months, I received a mail from that journal, right? I was very happy. But the news is it was rejected. Right? So you need to have patience. I used to feel very bad at that time. Maybe I feel that I am not good in this search. Should I change my path and all those things? Don't worry about that. You go to a shop and try to select a saree. Okay? You spend 1 hour, 2 hours taking all those sarees in the rack. Okay? Finally what you will do? You will not buy. You will go to the next shop. Will the shopkeeper sit and cry? No. He or she knows if you go, you go. Somebody else will come and buy. Same thing. If you reject me, that's okay. I will try to find another person. You have plenty of journals in computer science and AI related stuff. When you have confidence within you, right, automatically the harder path will look much more simple. Right? For gaining that confidence, I will advise you, go for 1 or 2 Scopus journals initially, and slowly you can get into the Web of Science journals. Because every time when you face rejection, that is not going to do any positive, give any positivity to your mind. This also you know, but I want to highlight 2 things. Point number 2, 3 things. Point number 2, 6 and 9. Okay? Point number 2, 6 and 9. These are the 3 parts which an editor will look in the research article. What is point?